Watch High and Outside with Malik Wright and Dante Miles every Sunday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern on Facebook Live.
You heard the man. What's up, y'all? Episode 7 of the High and Outside podcast. Malik Wright, Dante Miles, here to give y'all your weekly rundown of what happened in the MLB, courtesy of us, MLBBro.com. You see from the hoodie right here, covering black and brown baseball players, both past and present. I'm Malik Wright. Over in Atlanta, we have Dante Miles, Ray in the back of the studio. How you doing, Dante?
I'm solid, bro. I really can't complain. We had a really good week of baseball. You know what I'm saying? The season is really starting to roll. And, you know, teams are starting to get their momentum. So it's really fun to watch. So, you know, I'm good, bro. I had a really good week. I was at the ballpark. I know we'll get into that later. But overall, I really can't complain.
Yes, sir. And like you said, some dudes who we didn't think showed up this week. Young rookies balling. No hitters, near no hitters, but let's get it started with an MLB bro who he threw the most pitches in the season this year. 118. Hunter Greene takes the L, 7 1/3, 1 hit. The Reds themselves didn't give up a hit. They end up losing 1-0 to the Pirates on a game-winning hit by Brian Hayes, who's the top 10 hitter this year. I have some more on that on our website tomorrow, but the feeling of, like, I saw Hunter Greene give an interview, talk about it's not big on wins and losses, but what can something like what happened tonight do to a guy like that?
I mean, I think right now, this entire season for Hunter is really about just building momentum. Like, the Reds aren't really going anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So for a start like that, even though he didn't get the W, you know, it's still something that he can really build on. And, you know, it's just another reassurance that his skills are fit for the major league level.
Yes, sir. And again, 7 innings. He did have 5 walks. They let him go out there. You usually see people get pulled with 80 pitches, 90 pitches being that young. It was actually cool to see the Reds let him go that far. And he didn't deserve to stay in. If you look at it, he had those 2 walks. But like you said, their Reds aren't in it for real. And another big win for the Pirates, who they keep staying afloat, 3rd in the NL Central. Not world beaters yet, but a very competitive team that they have in Pittsburgh. And it's been fun for me to say that. I hope we can continue to say that this year. But just real quick, you have anything about Brian Hayes and the season he's having, underrated season he's having?
I mean, Brian, that's one guy, like, you know, it seems like for years with the Pirates, it's just like they can't get a guy that they can really start to build around. And it seems like with Brian, they finally got a guy, and it also seems like they don't want to trade him. You know, normally they're one of the teams lately that when they do get guys that can really help that team and pull them out of that rut that they've been in, they trade them away. But with Brian, you know what I'm saying, they really decided, you know, they signed him to the 7-year deal. So it's clear that, you know, he is a part of their future down in Pittsburgh. So, you know, that's another one of those franchises. I think when you look at franchises like Pittsburgh, like Baltimore, like Cincinnati, where you have these historic franchises that for decades were legendary. They were winning World Series. They were winning pennants. And now it seems like the last, you know, and they pretty much Malik and you in our lifetime, they've been terrible. So I know me personally, I can't tell you the last time the Pirates were actually like a really good baseball team. Like, it's been like once or twice in my lifetime. So I think with Brian, they have a guy that's like, all right, let's stop trading everybody. Let's stop trying to, you know, constantly hitting that reset button. It's like, all right, we can build around this guy.
Yeah. And exactly like you said, I think the last time the Pirates were good was probably that Kutch year. And I believe the other year, right after that, where we were talking about it earlier at the ballpark, actually, that 19-inning game they had against the Braves, where they get called safe, and that sort of changed and derailed their whole season. They really haven't been the same since that particular play, if you want to go all the way back. But we got to move on now to the performance of the year. And in my book, if you look at statistics, it's the greatest late game performance in baseball history. Josh Naylor, 8 RBI, 2 home runs in the late innings, caught the White Sox slipping. He was hype, hit him with the silencer first, and then he just explodes in the dugout, man. I know we actually did our last show on Monday. So I remember you got off, was ready to go to bed, wake up and see what happened. So, I mean, let's see. I believe this is his first home run right here.
Yeah. Bro, this is crazy because, like you said, bro, we finished the show I'm looking. I'm like, okay, White Sox up 8-2. I can lay it down. Night is over. I wake up to probably like 60 text messages. And I'm like, what happened? I'm waking up thinking, I hope everything is okay. And then I find out that they blew this game, bro. Like, and as much as people wanted to blame Liam Neeson, who had not Liam Neeson, Liam Hendricks, who's given up, a few home runs here and there. I blame this entire game on Tony, bro. Like Josh Naylor, you got shout out to him going crazy like that. Like you said, hitting 2 home runs after the 8th inning and really just going at it, pulling his team to victory. But if you Tony La Russa, there's no way you bring your closer in to a dirty inning like that with the bases loaded when he struggled, when he's giving up home runs. But he did that. And then in the 10th inning, you have Naylor at the plate. The guy behind Naylor is hitting, he was hitting like 200. You have first base open. You decide to pitch to Naylor. He hits another home run. So, I mean, if you give a guy an opportunity like that, then he made the most of it. So you got to really tip your cap to Naylor because that was amazing, bro. Like you said, we haven't seen anything like that.
Yeah, and I believe this is a grand slam swing right here. He little pimp job on it too. Got the whole dugout hype. This is the type of game I think that can change a team's season both directions. The Guardians struggling. They're not as low in the pack as you think they are. Just a young staff. You got Jose Ramirez, so they're all in on winning, trying to compete for a playoff spot right now, especially coming in the Central. But like I said, the greatest single game clutch performance ever goes to Josh Naylor. Was brought down a few times last year through the minors, so it's good to see him staying steady. I'm gonna read his stats over his last 7: 417, 875 slugging percentage, 14 RBI, and 3 home runs. So he was hot even before that game. So I don't know what La Russa was thinking either. We'll get more in on those White Sox later. But now we're gonna move on to Royce Lewis, top prospect, made his debut for the Twins this week as Carlos Correa went on the injured list. It's his first career home run, make it a grand salami sandwich, big 4 runs. He's going to make it tough for them to bring him down. Got Byron Buxton, Nick Gordon, Max Kepler. Just what are the potential you see of these Twins as we show the grand slam right here?
Man, bro, no. Like Minnesota actually has an opportunity to compete for this division. I think they're gonna have to stay healthy. That's gonna be very important. But like you said, adding a talent like this, a young guy who can really rake like this, it's gonna be really good for this team. And you talk about Buxton, we talk about Correa, who's been nursing the injury, waiting for him to come back. And this is a team, but they've had the bats for a while now, but usually their pitching falters. So I really want to see if that pitching staff can hold up. But adding a talent like this to that lineup is always going to be positive because it takes more pressure off of a Byron Buxton, and he can just knowing that he has extra guys to help either set that table or if they sit hitting them behind them to get other guys in. So I think this is going to be a very good addition to that Minnesota Twins roster.
Yeah, they keep adding depth, and players on that team make it tough for you to take them out the lineup. We saw when Nick Gordon came in for Byron Buxton. Now we see Carlos Correa, Royce Lewis come in for Carlos Correa, who we know Carlos playing shortstop. We know he's probably not moving. He's definitely not moving to third, regardless of how long he's been there. So it's definitely a few sparks on their team. I know Kepler has an outfield spot. They flip around Gordon from left to center sometimes, but you plug him out and right, you better find a spot for Lewis because if he can get a full season under his belt, that'll be something special to see. We are the High and Outside podcast, and I do want to get into one more thing before we have our founder, Rob Parker, join us. We actually had a no-hitter. It was actually leading off our show a few days ago, but like you said, baseball works in crazy ways, and but we got to pay respect to the West Coast. And Reed Detmers of the Angels, he throws a no-hitter, 1 walk, 2 strikeouts. The most calm, relaxed no-hitter I've probably ever seen. You don't see many no-hitters with that. The Angels, they're up top the AOS right now. Here's the last out of that no-hitter. Lefty out of Louisville. Young in. It's a dangerous Angels team. I'm telling you, Joe Adell got moved down because they had so much talent in that outfield. Bryce Harper's hot. We'll get in that to a minute, but Trout is one of the hottest players in the world. I think he's reasserted himself in that best player. Shohei Ohtani does what he does. Brandon Marsh. You think this Angels team can give it a ride this season? Is something we were discussing today. They don't really have a shortstop. You have a guy like Xander Bogaerts who might become available. I know it's crazy thinking Boston would tank, but do you think a team like the Angels would make a big splash?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because one thing we know about the Angels, that owner doesn't mind spending money, and that owner wants to make a splash, and he also recognizes that, hey, yeah, we're the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, but we still got the Dodgers sitting right there. So they understand that they have to keep making moves, and I also believe that's a team that wants to make the playoffs. You have too much talent. There's no way you can have the best 1-2 punch in baseball, which, despite what people think, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout are the best 1-2 punch in baseball. It's not close. There is no other, really real competition in that aspect. So when you have those guys and you have a Noah Syndergaard on that squad, you've added a Rendon to that squad. It's time to really make noise. So I think, yes, that's a team we can definitely look to make a move, like you said, for Xander Bogaerts or someone, or just anybody that can help that team. Because right now, you want to ride that momentum. You're in first place, and you want to keep that going. And one thing we've seen with the Angels over the past few years is they can be in first place, and then they'll have an injury. Mike Trout, he'll get nicked up, and then they'll just tank. So it's time to really see this team make a push, make a playoff push. So I would love to see them go get Xander, but anybody really that can help that squad. I think at this point, if you're the Angels, you got to know like it's time to capitalize on this. And this is why I picked them at the beginning of the season as one of my surprise teams, because this team is loaded with talent. It's just been a matter of staying healthy.
Yeah, and they have a big series coming up this week in Arlington against a team that they're trying to get hot, trying to find their way. If they can beat the Angels, they really show people how even the AL West. But again, the AL West is. But again, shout out to Reed Detmers. I hope I'm saying your name right. Congratulations on your no-hitter. Again, we are the High and Outside podcast, live every week on Sunday, 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central Time. I want to bring in right now our finder, the guy who brought us all together, though, Mr. Rob Parker, joining us out of beautiful Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. What's going on, Rob?
Yo, what's up, guys? How you doing? I know,
good,
crazy,
man.
Right?
You know
me,
right.
I'm always traveling, always around somewhere. So I'm heading back to Los Angeles tomorrow. But all good. So many great things going on. Baseball, MLB wise, baseball in general. So I'm glad to be on the show. And I know you just talked about the 1-2 punch of Shohei and Mike Trout. And they are definitely, when you talk about it, and obviously Trout has a long track record and has won MVPs, and Shohei unanimous, I should say, MVP. And I get all that. But I got to say this, though. Right now, the two brothers playing in the Bronx, it's hard to look when those two guys are swinging and they're healthy. And we just saw that 1-2 punch there is pretty dynamite. I think the Yankees when they hit home runs in hit home runs in games, it's something like 24 and 24 and 3 or 24 and 1?
I believe it's like, I saw 17 and 1 in their last clip where they homer. I mean, that's a good segue over his last 7 games. Aaron Judge, 346, 8 RBI, 3 home runs, had his first walk-off of his career a few games ago against the Blue Jays.
I mean, he bet on himself. He had $213 million sitting there. He could have signed on it. Remember, he's a little older player because he started later than most guys. He could have said his history of being injured. You could have said, man, let me grab this and not play around. But he didn't. He didn't want it. You know what he wanted? He wanted to play it out, and he wants one of those $300 million bags that everybody else is getting. And I'm telling you, he looks like the Aaron Judge from the rookie year. Remember when he hit 52 home runs and he was a sensation? And Giancarlo Stanton, he's another one. I mean, we forget about this guy, and he was injured a lot during his time with the Yankees. This guy had 59 home runs in Miami. He's a monster, just hitting the ball all over the place. And the Yankees are winning. and they're winning at a record clip. But those two guys have a lot to do with it so far.
Yeah, the Yankees, they have starting to grow that lead on the AL West. Before we talk about the team on the other side of New York, I want to bring up another guy who's really matched the ball over his last few games. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Bryce Harper. Over his last 3 games, 8 for 12, 3 home runs, 4 doubles, 8 RBI, 5 runs, and he's doing it all with a torn UCL in his left arm. It doesn't. I talked to some guys. It might not fully affect him on his swing because it's his backswing, but the man, he has one arm, and he's back to looking like what we thought he was when he was in high school, when they were calling him the chosen one, and when he came up with Mike Trout, he was matching his energy.
Well, remember, he won the MVP in the National League last year, kind of, because Tatis got hurt, right? Tatis was playing great all year, got hurt. And then the Padres fell into a hole or whatever, and then Bryce was able to grab it. But I agree, Bryce Harper is a stud and a star. I mean, there's a reason the Phillies paid him that money when he left the Nationals, but he's playing great. I watched the game yesterday against the Dodgers, and, I mean, he's been destroying them this weekend. Dodgers pitching have been outstanding. And he's been a wrecking crew, and the Phillies have been scoring runs left and right. But Bryce Harper's back on that plateau. I agree. It's been great to watch, to see him mash the ball.
Yeah, he was on a tear. He took the day off today, and the Phillies probably blew one of the biggest blunders of the night. They were up in the 9th. A quick double or quick triple, I should say, by Bellinger, a walk and a double, and it was a wrap. They took the L that game. This is one of Bryce's home runs yesterday, one of his 2. He's actually went deep with 2 bombs in his last few games. I thought I had somebody send me this. I was like, man, you sent me this yesterday. He's like, nah, man, this is a fresh hit for Harper. But I want to go next to one of Harper's opponents, the rival New York Mets. Number 1 in the East. They have a big lead. I believe it's almost nearly 6-game lead in the NL East. Are these Mets for real, and are they the best team in baseball? If so, you got Jacob deGrom, you have Max Scherzer, you have Chris Bassett, Dom Smith, Starling Marte, Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor. I mean, is this the best team in New York, and is this the best team in baseball?
Good question. I mean, right now they're not. The Yankees have the best record in baseball, so I'm going to say they have the best team. But the Mets are right there, especially when you talk about Jacob deGrom not even pitching yet. You know what I mean? Like, that's a big – to imagine adding that guy to your team, Dante, at some point, and where they are right now, the Mets are off to a good team. It's not a fluke. The team is loaded. They got guys, and Lindor finally has relaxed and gone back to the player he was. I think New York was too big and too bright last year, and he's frustrated and probably getting all that money, you know what I mean? Felt a lot of pressure, but not this year. And we saw that big win when they came back against Philadelphia. It's games like that you look at teams and say they got something going, because I think they scored 6 or 7 runs in the 9th inning to win that game. That doesn't happen often.
Yeah, another tough blow for Philly. One of many that they've suffered this season. They're probably going to end up missing playoffs by a few games, and it'll be because of games like this. The last thing I want to talk to you again, Rob Parker, appreciate you joining us on the High and Outside podcast. Malik Wright and Dante Miles, every Sunday live on Facebook. We'll have the link out for you guys to listen to later this week. But the Chicago White Sox and your favorite guy, Tony La Russa, 16-17. They had a good comeback win against the Yankees last night, I believe. A little base running blunder by Isaiah Kiner-Falefa led to the Yankees ending the inning. Tim Anderson later comes around to score the winning run. Is it time to panic in Chicago? I'm kind of worried that they might start looking at guys like TA and start shipping everybody off, if not La Russa himself.
No, I don't see TA going anywhere. I think that would be a mistake. He's a young star in this game. Balls out. What is he batting? 313 or something? I mean,
it was like 346 a couple days ago.
346. The bat is always there, regardless of his defense. That bat is always there.
Right, and he's already won a batting title. I'm shocked at where they are, and they've had a bad stretch, and they wound up losing 3 out of 4 to the Yankees. Thank God they got that win Saturday. Otherwise, they got swept. A 4-game series at home, so they needed that win. But there's still a lot of baseball. We're only into May 15th. We got 4 months. You know what I mean, to go. So I'm not going to count out the White Sox, even though they're off to an uneven start and a struggle. But yeah, that's going to be. I love the Twins in the Central. I love that team, what they're doing. So the White Sox, it ain't their division automatically. I think it's going to be between them and the Twins, but there's time for them to regroup. They have talent. They just got to play better.
Yeah, and I'm sure they'll get it back on track soon. They definitely need to. But again, Rob, I want to appreciate you for joining us. We'll have to have you on again soon. Before you go, though, you had this moment right here. Tim Anderson dives back into third base. Josh Donaldson probably purposely breaks him off. I don't know if it was to fire up the Yankees or whatnot. I kind of like seeing this, especially with these two characters. You kind of expect them to, I haven't seen it much between these two, but they're two of the best characters in baseball. This is kind of the stuff I guess I like.
Oh, yeah, no, he's blocking the base, so you can't get there. I mean, I don't see anything. I don't see anything wrong with his baseball, man. You block the base, right? Guys coming in, he ain't coming back at you with spikes, is he? You know what I'm saying? I think that's a real play. I'm sure Anderson did like it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No.
But that's baseball, man. You know, like everything can't be Charmin. You know, like that's a real play. I love it.
Yes, sir. Like you said, I'll leave it at that. Everything can be Charmin. But again, I appreciate you for joining the High and Outside podcast, Rob. Of course, we'll have you on again later this season. And go ahead and enjoy your Sunday night and have a safe flight back to LA.
No, hey, guys, appreciate it. Keep working hard, man. I love all the work you guys are doing. The site looks great. And keep working hard. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. As we move on to our next segment, we're going to go live at the ballpark. I got a chance this week to talk with Michael A. Taylor, outfielder for the World Series champion winning outfielder. He's currently on the Kansas City Royals. He got the World Series title with the Nationals back when they won it a few years back. He's the 39th player to home run in his first ever World Series at bat. And he made the catch of the year. I think he's a clear Gold Glove candidate, but he had a great catch, home run, Gary Matthews Jr. looking catch against the Cardinals earlier this week, or a few weeks ago, I should say. I had a little bit of time to speak with him on that as well. Yo, what's up? It's Malik Wright, and I'm live on Tech at the Ballpark for MLBBro.com. All right, so let's take it back to May 2nd. You were out in center field against the Cardinals in St. Louis. What was going through your mind when you made what everybody's calling the catch of the year?
Just on that play, I knew he got it pretty well, and it was going to be either on the wall or out. So I didn't want to drift. A lot of times you get caught just kind of drifting back there, and the ball gets to the wall at the same time I'm getting there. So I tried to get back there as quick as I could, and that allowed me to kind of time it up and make a play.
Is that the best catch you've ever made? Do you have anything similar to that in the rivalry?
I'd have to say that's the best catch I've ever made.
All right. Now, I know one of the best swings you ever had came in your first at-bat of the World Series, 39th player ever to home run in your first at-bat. What was that moment like for you? And then what was it like when you guys got to win the championship?
It was just surreal being in the World Series, get to experience the energy and the atmosphere. And then to get an at-bat, I was excited. And then with that result, you couldn't ask for much more. I definitely didn't go up there trying to hit a home run, but it's pretty cool to be able to say I played in the World Series and also hit a home run. So I was excited about that. And then obviously winning was a dream come true. And to be able to bring a championship to DC and be able to celebrate with my teammates, it's a time and memories that I won't forget.
Yes, sir. Now, my last question to you. You're a young center fielder. I know when you were with the Nationals, you didn't get to get that consistent play time. You came to KC and you've made some of the best defensive plays that we've seen this season in baseball. So just talk about the pride you put on that, and do you have like Gold Glove aspirations?
Yeah, I came up as a shortstop, so when I made the transition to the outfield, I really just poured myself into my defense and I tried to do every little thing I could to get better, even like small adjustments and things like that. So defense is something that I've worked really hard at and I take pride in.
All right, man. Well, I appreciate you for joining MLBBro.com.
Thank you for having me.
MLBBro.com, covering black and brown major leagues.
He's a great dude, real cool guy. Of course, I learned that once again, he was a former shortstop, moved to the outfield. But to see a guy like that pride himself in defense and, he doesn't have the highest average right now, but I truly do think that he is in the running and he's probably going to deserves a Gold Glove. He has a cannon arm. Dude looks like he's like 6'1", 6'2". You wouldn't expect him to have something like that. He also nearly nabbed another home run against us. So just give me any thoughts you have on Michael Taylor of the time that you've got to see him.
Like you said, an elite defender and somebody that's definitely growing in this game. I think it's interesting that he's, like you said, another converted infielder, and it seems like with every guy we run into at the ballpark, they're a converted infielder turned outfielder. So like I always wonder, like with guys like that, what it would have been like if he was able to stay at his natural position and a position he really enjoys and wants to play. But no, he's a hell of a player, and I think, like you said, going forward, this is a guy that if you're Kansas City, now you brought him in, that he can be your everyday center fielder. You have a Gold Glove caliber guy out there. I think this is another guy. This is another team that seems like they're in a perpetual rebuild, but this is a guy, if you can catch one of those sparks, this is somebody that you can, with Merrifield and, everyone like that you have, you can really build around this. So, so like I said, he's an elite defender. And if the bat can start to catch up to it, like we've seen with J.P. Crawford, then the sky's really the limit.
Yeah, and that Royals team is probably the all DFW team. They got about 6 of them dudes that are from Dallas, live in Dallas, used to play out here. They went against another Dallas powerhouse, Rangers pitcher Taylor Hearn, 5 innings pitched, 5 Ks, 1 hit. Now he went 5 innings again in his start a few weeks ago. It was a Sunday start against the Atlanta Braves. That was his first win. I believe his first home. He was like 0-6 at home at the time before that start. He had like 10 days between that start and his start against the Royals because of some rain delays and just days off. So he let the media know his legs were a little tired. He did get hit by a line drive, but Hearn is looking strong. We got pieces on him coming next week. He has a huge start this week, coming up against the Angels. I believe depending on, we'll see how the Angels decide, but I believe he's on track to face Shohei Ohtani on Tuesday. If he doesn't pitch on Wednesday, if they go by every 5 days, then he'll be facing against Ohtani, which I think that'll be a great chance for him to get put. MLB Network and they're all going to be locked in on Ohtani start. So when they look at that Angels box score, Hearn, let's see 0 on their side, and let's match Ohtani. I'm going to let you get to what you saw at the ballpark this week with the Atlanta Braves and Travis Demeritte.
Well, yeah, the Braves as a whole, they've continued. Like, they've been really just up and down this year so far. And, they won 2 out of 3 against Milwaukee. Then they split with the Boston Red Sox. And then they lost 2 out of 3 to San Diego. And so, this is San Diego without Tatis. I know Hosmer and Manny Machado have been playing really well, but their pitching has been really inconsistent. Everything for the Braves has been really inconsistent. And Ron Washington mentioned as much when I talked to I went down before BP and talked to him before one of the games, and he was saying we just really have to become more consistent as a team. And the Braves, you still haven't seen that. And Ronnie Acuna, he's been hurt. Well, now he's hurt again. Well, he's been given the last few days off. And it's interesting because, Travis Demeritte just really made the most out of this. I know this was a guy who he was originally just called up because Eddie Rosario, as we all know, he had a LASIK surgery. And so he was just going to be on the bench.
I want to thank him for letting me draft him on my fantasy team, and then he needs LASIK like 2 weeks later. But
exactly. Between Eddie and his LASIK and Austin Riley was out on paternity leave. That's how Travis got his roster spot. But at home, Travis is hitting 317 with the 364 on base percentage. Couple home runs, couple RBIs. So he's really actually, made himself a viable option for Schnick in that lineup. And with the all-time DH, with Ronnie, slowly but surely working his way back into it. I think as long as he hits, he'll find a place. They'll find a place for him in that lineup. So, that's been fun to watch. And, they have another series coming up in a couple weeks. They're on the road starting tomorrow. But when they get back in town, I'll definitely try to, sit down with Travis and just let him see what, how everything's been going, because he's been on point at home.
Yeah, definitely earning his spot in the big leagues. A great dude and a guy who I think is probably the fastest player in the majors. Rangers go out of town for us soon this week. They have a quick set against the Angels that I'll be there for Hearn's start, and hope he locks in with a dub. But we come to an end of another edition of the High and Outside podcast. I enjoyed it with you, Dante. I want to end with one question. Okay, today, I know we're a month and a half in the season, but who is your let's pick one MVP from each league.
From each league, oh man, it's kind of tough. Damn. For the National League, I got to go with Jazz. I think Jazz would be my National League MVP, and from the American League, it would be Mike Trout. I know that's an easy, safe answer, but when you look at what he's done since he got back, it's like he reminded you, yeah, guys, I'm the best player in this league, and it ain't close. Like, so since he's come back, he's done nothing but do what Mike Trout does. So I'm about to go Jazz and Trout.
I'm going to give you a little 2014, 2015 throwback answer. Mike, like you said, Mike Trout, Bryce Harper. Bryce is matching. I think I'm going to give him a few more weeks on this on UCL, but if he can catch up and take that home run lead from Aaron Judge, who's up big, he's up by a few still. If he can hawk him down and take that home run lead, I don't care if he plays any defense. If he does that, because the RBIs and all that, the batting average will come with it. But if he takes that home run crown, then watch out. Although they're in different leagues, I think that's going to really boost Harper's chances. But thank you guys again for joining us on the High and Outside podcast live on Facebook. Appreciate you guys for watching us. We'll have this link coming out later in a few days, tomorrow, out on SoundCloud for you guys to listen to. Have a good rest of your week and enjoy some baseball.
MLBBro.com, covering black and brown major leagues.